the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
For Vols optimism and football in 2025 for you is what, Alex?
I'm going to go with the secondary, specifically Ricky Gibson and Jermon McCoy. I think those guys last year were, just from me watching, I was like, man, these dudes are just dogs in the secondary. And I think, the defense was really good last year. Pass game, running game, but I think those two are really poised for a big year. And I think Ricky Gibson could take a big step up. I mean, he was good last year, but he's poised for a breakout year. McCoy led the SEC, or co-led the SEC with 4 picks, so he was all over the place. He arguably had the play of Tennessee's season last year with that pick in the end zone against Alabama. Total momentum shifter. So I think those guys, for me, and just the overall secondary is going to be, if not the best unit on the team, it's going to be close.
I love the secondary call because I think they're just going to also benefit so much from the front seven. In the front seven, this is the first year where Tennessee's only going to have a 2 deep of 4 of blue chippers. At the linebacker spot, William Inge just quietly stack that room, where you're going to have a 2 deep, most likely this year, of T-Lander and Carter, and then behind them, Jordan Burns and Edwin Spillman. That's just your 4. And then you have Jaden Harmon coming in, 4-star from Rome. You've got Christian Gass looming. You've got Jaden Perlotti looming. Like, it's just a loaded room. And I think people are going to look way too much into James Pierce just being gone, where I think they're going to be more than fine without James Pierce. My worry is more on the opposite side. Like, I think you need Jordan Ross to be able to be in that Rabbits package that Tyler Barron was in 2023. You got to find that guy opposite of Joshua Josephs this year, where you don't put all the pressure on your Leo to get home with 4. That was something the one miss in the portal 2 years ago was not retaining Tyler Barron. And I said at the time that, like, that was a mistake. It's just, you tried to moneyball strong side defensive end, and Barron was awesome again at Miami this past year. I mean, he was wrecking Florida in that game. It was a big reason Miami beat Florida. But you try to moneyball it with Dominic Bailey, Tyree West, and Tyree Weathersby, and it just didn't work that way. Like, you didn't get the same kind of production, and it just did not work. But I think there's a lot more reason for optimism on both sides there, and I think they're going to continue to rotate. And I think Jordan Ross seems like, if he can stay healthy, Ross is someone who I think can slide over on obvious passing down, stuff like that. But it's just going to help the secondary. And I think the secondary is going to need help, Griffin, because Jermon McCoy, I don't know when he's going to play. Like, there's a lot of people are just expecting him right away against Syracuse. I still don't think I would be very cautious until Georgia. Like, I think it's just more of like, you need him for Georgia 100%. I think you can beat Syracuse and obviously ETSU without Jermod. And if he needs a little bit extra time to get right and get ready, then that's what you do. But I think it's a good call. The secondary is just going to be a whole lot better than people expected. I mean, Boot Carter in year 2, I think he's your best overall, like, he's your most talented player on this roster right now. And I think he has the potential to just be a superstar over the next 2 years. Colton Hood, a sneaky addition. Jalen McMurray was a top 100 PFF corner this past year. He's right there, and he should help in a big way. Caleb Beasley and Idris Farouk next to Turntine. Turntine's quietly a 3rd-year starter now and one of the leaders for Banks, so that continuity is huge. I don't know. Is it secondary for you too, Griffin, or do you go somewhere else?
I was actually planning on zooming out. I love the nitty-gritty. I love the talk about the potential secondary. Obviously, the offense is a whole nother can of worms. But when I thought about this question, when I thought about optimism, I thought about the fan and I thought about the media's reflection of this team in 2025. And I think the biggest reason for optimism is the level of expectations on this team. There's so many question marks because I think with this team coming back with Nico running the show, the expectations and the pressure and the optimism based on camp might have been a little different. But I feel optimistic just because the expectation level dropped a little bit. Yes, there's question marks being at wide receiver, at quarterback, but I think there is enough to be optimistic about. I like the energy in the building. It seems like the guys have really rallied together. This coaching staff has been here for a long time now. Rodney Gardner is the guy he's going to get his guys. The defensive line, they're going to get their guys and they're going to get production. So I know that's zooming out. I know it's not ultra specific, but when I think about this roster, when I think about the quarterback position, when I think about the leadership in the building, my biggest reason for optimism is because we really don't know how it's going to go. And I think there's enough talent in the building to be optimistic for what this team can accomplish in 2025.
I think that's fair. I do think it's good that there's like a really low key lack of buzz right now about this group because
100%.
the expectations are just not. It reminds me a lot of 2021 in some ways because you had Joe Milton come in as a May transfer spring portal guy. Hendon Hooker was a leftover guy and kind of overlooked. And I think you're kind of seeing that a little bit with Jake, where Jake is just looming in the weeds, working out with Mike and Braylon and company in May. Natural leadership qualities. He's been in the system for 2 years now. I still think it's going to be an open quarterback competition. I still would be surprised if they don't go to Aguilar. Heupel seems to just favor the vets, and I'll be surprised if it's Jake out of the gate. But I also have predicted that I think you're going to see multiple starters this year, even if Jake doesn't start right away. That all being said, I just think it's nice because I don't think anyone has it. You made the playoff last year. Like you got to where you were supposed to go. I don't think the fan base doesn't blame the staff for what happened with Nico. So I think the Nico part of it stinks because that theoretically would have raised your ceiling in 2025, but Nico was still theoretical, right? Like the pressure would have been crazy for Tennessee because it just felt like this was it for Nico no matter what. Like either he balls out and goes to the draft or balls out and goes to the portal, or it doesn't work. And it's like, all right, we have 2 years of evidence where it just is not, it's not clicking. So like, we're going to move on. We're bringing in Faison next year. Like everything was just set up to have a 3-man competition between Jake, George, and Faison next year. And like, may the best man win. And then you just see what happens. And that's what you do. Now it's just a little bit more, it's muddled. And I think fans are just kind of like, I don't know what to expect. No Dylan Sampson, no Nico. Like the receivers, you have 6 of 7 receivers are all underclassmen. And you have one upperclassman, it's Chris Brazzell. Like that's the only veteran in that wide receiver room. You don't know what you're going to get out of Lance Hurd at left tackle. I'm pretty bullish on Lance being really good this year. I think he has a lot of reasons to be as best at his absolute best, because I think if he has a good year, he's a potential first round guy. His size and frame and his upside, he actually graded out better than Darnell Wright did his first year at Tennessee. So I think there's a lot of reason for optimism. I think Lance Hurd's going to have a really good, quiet year for Tennessee. But to your point, like I think a lot of people have gone way too far the other way on Tennessee a little bit, where it's like, oh, we're not like, it's kind of a wash. Like let's get to 8-4. And I'm like, this schedule is great for Tennessee.
That was the other thing that I had in mind, is that the schedule provides optimism itself.
Yeah. I mean, they lost only one game and they're over under FanDuel. Like they went from 9.5 to 8.5. It's not like FanDuel was like, oh, season's over. No Nico, done deal. It's like, no, you're still looking like a 9-win team. And I think the difference between 21 and 25 is you just have so much in the cupboard on defense that your floor is so high with Tim Banks' group. Like they've hired extremely well. Like you just casually bring in Alum Williams and Marion Hobby this offseason on that side of the ball. Like Tim Banks just stacks just veteran big time coaches. Like they're just loaded. It's one of the best coaching staffs in college football on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side, you have one guy over 40 years old who is in a coordinator role right now. And like Halsey under 40, Kelsey Pope under 40, Darrell Sims under 40, and then you have Alec Ablin under 40, and then Ellerby is the only vet who's like in one of those position coaches or coordinator roles. It's very different, but Seth Luttrell I think will help coming in as an offensive analyst and we'll see how much of a role he has. But yeah, I think there's a lot of reason for optimism because I think fans have kind of gone too doom and gloom, and I have a hard time believing that this is not at worst an 8-win team this year. And if you get to 8 wins and just get to next year and you have one of the best defenses in college football, you beat a lot of teams you don't really get upset, and you're in the Georgia game maybe longer than people expect in Neyland Stadium, or you push Alabama into the fourth quarter like you've done the last 2 times you've gone to Tuscaloosa. Maybe you give Florida a scare, or you beat Florida on the road because Florida is not having the year and TJ Lagway is not healthy and you're playing them a lot later. Like that's the last time you won at Florida anyway, was in November in 2001. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of reason for optimism, and I'm pretty bullish. So I've like tried to bring the train back. I'm like, all right, let's calm down. Like this is not a doom and gloom situation. This is not a team that's gonna be fighting for a bowl win. This is not Vanderbilt.
No, it's not. It's not Vanderbilt, and I love the points you make. You reiterate the reasons for optimism because of the experience on the defensive staff. I love that point because it's a terrific point that the fans might not necessarily look into. You mentioned a lack of buzz. Like, you're right. You're absolutely right. Vol Twitter is, kind of crickets when baseball was around. Yeah. Usually Vol football Twitter is alive and awake often, 24/7, 365. And obviously, you said it, everything school HQ is Knoxville, Tennessee at this point in time. But Vol football, it's still a football school through and through. And when the football chatter is just a little bit quieter, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world for Coach Heupel and his team, and just preparing for the end of summer camp, the beginning of fall camp. They're able to go into that building and get the things done that they need to get done. And like you said about Lance Hurd, develop. And I think that's what this team has. They have an experience in the college football playoff. They obviously had their experience as a coaching staff in 2022, being ultra successful with a quarterback and with an offense. I just think I agree. I think the ceiling is a lot higher than some people are giving this team and this coaching staff credit.
Alex, biggest Vol baseball offseason question for you this summer is what?
I think down the stretch, especially in SEC play, we saw that bullpen, that back end of the bullpen kind of give up some runs, which was concerning from my point. So I definitely think pitching would be my big focus. They've already done some work in that department. They got Brady Freddie.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.